Hey guys, we're here at Edisto Beach State Park. My name is Sam. I'm the interpreter here. Sorry, the connectivity issues were a little unexpected, but we'll wait a little bit. I'll just go over some stuff. Even though all 47 state parks are closed, we're still here doing programs for you guys, making sure that the park still looks good, so when we do reopen, we're ready for you. So we can't wait for you guys to come back here, because doing this program is a little bit different without having people. Well, first, I'll go over a few methods. I'll go over a few methods that you can do. So a few things that you'll need at home. You'll want vinegar. That's what you put the shirt in to hold the dye. And then you'll want water and food coloring. That's going to be your actual dye. I don't have food coloring. I use fiber reactive dyes from Dharma Trading Company. And you could go to that website, dharmatrading.com, and then they have a bunch of different colors. They have all sorts of materials that you would need, but that holds the dye the best. Those are the most vibrant colors, so that's what we use. Our first method is our spiral. This is the most common one. So you'll put your shirt into the vinegar or soda ash, and then you'll take it from the center and you'll twist until it's completely bunched up. And then you want to put your rubber bands on. Again, your shirt will be wet, so it'll look a little bit, it'll be easier to bunch it up. And then once you have your shirt bunched up, then you dye it. So I usually use 6 different sections. You can do 8. You can do as many as you want depending on the size of the shirt. So typically what people do, they do a color per pie slice. I use 3 different colors for this. You could do 2. You could do 6 different ones, whatever you want to do. So once you have the one section dyed, then you flip it over and you do the same thing on the other side, or we've had visitors do something completely different and use different colors. You can't really mess up tie-dye. It's your work of art unless you mix orange and purple. That makes brown. So if you don't want brown, then keep those colors away from each other. So that is our spiral. And then I have a couple of different examples of spiral, so that way you can see the variety. So this one, this is not a white shirt. This is kind of a green shirt, blue shirt. It was an old shirt I had, and I thought it would be pretty cool to tie-dye it. So again, same method. You take it in the center and you spin it around, and then you put your rubber bands on it. And I use 2 different colors because the shirt is colored. So technically it's 3 colors. So if you have a light yellow or pink or orange or gray, and it's kind of stained, you can tie-dye it. As long as it's a cotton shirt, you can pretty much do whatever you want to it. And then another spiral we have here is just to show you how much white is showing. So depending on how much white or how much color you have, you can make more white showing or cover it up. So again, it would be the same thing, spiral, put your rubber bands on, and then once you dye it, if you leave white showing, you're gonna have it look more like this. So those are our spirals. And then we have our double spiral. So to do this one, it would be two centered spirals. You start on this side, and then you just twist it. And then you want all of the material. And then you would do it kind of the same way as the spiral. So you want little sections on this side. It's a little difficult to do this when it's dry, so that's why it's not going to look exactly like yours if you do this method. And the reason why you do tie-dye, or you use the rubber bands, is so that way you can have those it secures the shirt, but then you have those little sections. So again, with the double spiral, you can use multiple different colors. Throw in an extra rubber band here. Or you can do 2 different colors like this one. Or I've had people just kind of go like this and just see what happens. But there's the spiral. This one's a little bit difficult just because you have to make sure that you kind of keep it intact. Next up, I've already had this. Is going to be bullseye. So you put your shirt in soda ash or vinegar, lay it out flat, and then just pick it up off the center. You could off center it. Again, this is your work of art. You can't mess it up. So you pick it up, and then you just put rubber bands, depending on how many colors you have, is how many rubber bands you put up. So this one has 4. So once you have it all ready, then you can use your dye. This has a lot of white showing, so if you don't want a lot of white showing, make sure that when you're dyeing it, you go into these folds and cover the white when you're dyeing. You don't have to stay in those lines. You can see that there's some overlap within the colors. And once you have the one side dyed, then you just flip it over and do the other side. And then on this like really thick part, you want to make sure that you get in here. If you don't mind having dye on your hands, you don't have to wear gloves. It does wash out. But if you don't want rainbow hands, then definitely wear gloves. So that's our bullseye. And then we have our scrunch. So with this one, you could do it a couple of different ways. When I made this shirt, I kind of did little bunches and I rubber banded them. Like so. And then kind of scrunched it up that way. So again, this is kind of, you could do however many little pop-ups as you want, and then depending on how much color you want versus how much white is how much you bunch it up. So this shirt I kept relatively spread out, and then I just took the dye and kind of went like this with black, blue, and purple. And this was actually from an at-home kit, so that way you can kind of see the end result. But if you want a lot of white or a little bit more white, you can have it scrunched up like so. And then the shirt will be wet, so that kind of secures it. And you can even, for good measure, you can always put a big rubber band around it to keep it together. Oh, that didn't work. Like so, and then when you're done with this, flip it over and kind of color the other side. There was a method that I did on the Facebook Live. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I'll kind of show you. This is my tick shirt. So if you're out, this is what a deer tick looks like. So what I did with the shirt in the Facebook Live video, I put it in soda ash and then kind of just bunched it up like so. And then put rubber bands on it. So this is diagonal stripes. So you'll want to kind of go like that, similar to the bullseye. And depending on how many colors you want, is how many rubber bands you put on. I'm gonna do another method just so that way you guys can kind of see the variety. So I'm going to put it in soda ash. This is 100% cotton. You could do a cotton blend if that's what you have. You want it completely soaked in vinegar or soda ash, and then you wring it out. And then what I'm going to do is similar to the diagonal stripes. I'm just gonna bunch it vertically, and we're gonna have horizontal stripes. So really just scrunch it up like so. And then you put your rubber bands on it. And I'm gonna again do a rainbow. So just gonna do multiple sections because I want all of the colors. So depending on how much food dye you have, or if you have a kit, it really just depends on what you want to do. Because again, you can't mess up tie-dye unless you use orange and purple, which people like using orange and purple because it's Clemson colors. But it makes brown. So if you're a Clemson fan, don't mix the colors. So once you have it in vinegar and you have it all sectioned off, depending on what method you use, then you're ready to dye, or tie-dye. So I always tell people little dye goes a long way. So depending on how much white you have, or how much white you want to make sure you either completely cover it or you leave some. So this is what happens when you don't wear gloves. This is pretty much every time I tie-dye. And the setup takes a little bit longer than the actual process. So tie-dyeing itself isn't very lengthy. I should be done with this in a few minutes, but the actual setup itself is a little bit longer depending on if you're using food dye or if you're using fiber reactive dye, or if you have a tie-dye kit that you bought online. You can buy those pretty much anywhere. Walmart, Target, Amazon, Michaels, they all have tie-dye kits at home, and that ranges from $10 to $40. So really depends on what you have available, what your preferences are. And like I said, you don't need to stay in the lines. So I'm kind of overlapping a little bit, but that's okay. And if you're doing bullseye or the diagonal stripes, or this method, the end always is like the end of the shirt, so there's a lot. So if you don't want a lot of white, then make sure you get into these folds and the inside of the shirt too. So that way you have it completely covered. Throw a little pink in there, just like the one on the Facebook Live. And then once you're done with the one side, you just roll it over. I got most of the one side. I'm gonna leave red alone. And you want all the white completely covered up if you don't want white on your shirt. And you can see from the two shirts, this shirt and the one on the Facebook Live, I really didn't use a lot of dye. So your half a cup of water and your food coloring can go a long way. You could do multiple shirts if you'd like. It really just depends. So I've pretty much saturated the shirt, but I still did not use a whole lot of dye. And then once you have it completely dyed, you put it in a bag or wrap it, and then you leave it. If you're using this type of dye, or even like an at-home kit, you leave it about 24 hours, and then you take it out, rinse it in your sink or your tub, and then wash it. And wash dry, and you're good to go. With the food coloring method, it's about 8 to 12 hours. It's been a while since I've done that method, so with the vinegar and the food dye, it's not going to be as vibrant as the fiber reactive dyes because they're considered natural. So it'll be not nearly as vibrant, so if you want more vibrant colors, you can add more food coloring or less water, kind of experiment that way. But like I said on the Facebook post, once that shirt is done and this one, it'll be 24 hours, so about this time tomorrow, I'll rinse and wash them, and then I'll take pictures and post them so that way you can see the end result. And if you're at home and you want to do this, please post pictures because I like to see the end result when people do tie-dye here. So thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry about the technical difficulties. And be on the lookout for other Facebook Live videos from us. We do them daily, and then we even post them on YouTube. And then this weekend, from Friday to Saturday, there's the South Carolina virtual campout, so check out that. It's going to be a series of videos between national parks and South Carolina state parks. So if you're interested in camping or outdoors, definitely check that out.